right. What up? We're back. Got a little training session later. Pre-workout, Gorilla Mind, same thing, bomb pop, pretty good. A little bit sour. It's good though. This lady is just walking down the road, and every time I pass her, she turns and waves. Look at this. Never met her in my entire life. She literally stops on the side of the road and waves. Today we are covering the bulking versus Maingaining debates. This is very relevant right now, and a lot of it was brought on by Keenan, and I really like Keenan. He's very smart. I love his training app. I'm in his Discord community. I mean, he's a really cool guy, and he presents his argument well. But I'm gonna push back against him, against his ideas, not really against him, but against his ideas in this video and give you my perspective and my logic and my rhetoric. Throughout this entire video, I'm gonna be covering literally my entire argument, everything that I think, start to finish. So I recommend watching the whole thing. It's gonna really lay out my argument in a good way. So the guiding principle behind this video, one of the main things I want you guys to take away is that I believe that you should never need a massive cut, ever. Now, if you're a competitive bodybuilder, then you might, but most of us are non-competitive when you think about it. And so there's no reason to ever need a massive cut. I'm gonna really get started now by talking about beginners and early intermediates. So there are three types of beginners. There's people who start off fat, or skinny. And so starting with people who are fat, at that point, you might wanna do a cut. This might be a massive cut, this might be a short cut. It depends on how fat you are, but that's the biggest reason why you should cut as a beginner. That's when it makes the most sense. And so moving on to skinny fat, this means two things. Number one, you're skinny, which means you don't have a lot of muscle mass, which means you're a beginner or early intermediate. And B, it means you're fat, like you have too much body fat on your frame. And so at that point, you don't want to bulk because you don't want to get more fat, and you don't want to cut because you want to gain muscle. And so you're really the perfect candidate for Maingaining. And there's two reasons for that. Number one is that you have the novel stimulus that you get only when you're a beginner or early intermediate. You're gonna be growing muscle like crazy. And the second reason is because you already have a decent amount of body fat stored on your body that you can pull from and use as fuel. And so you truly are the perfect candidate for Maingaining. Moving on to skinny individuals, and again, skinny means that you don't have a lot of muscle mass on your frame, which means that you're a beginner or early intermediate. For these people, my argument, and I'm gonna lay this out in a second, is that you should bulk. So could you Maingain? Yes. And again, why is that? That's because you have the novel stimulus. The training stimulus that you get, because it's so novel to your body, is so robust, it's so profound that you can truly just gain a ton of muscle even in suboptimal environments. My question though is, why would you do that? We have evidence showing that beginners can utilize calorie surpluses better than anyone. They're the best to do it. And so, in a lot of these studies, what you see is that beginners utilize these calorie surpluses almost exclusively towards lean mass gains. Like they're in these massive 500 calorie surpluses and they gain almost exclusively lean mass. That's awesome. And my second point, number one is the evidence. Number two is that because you're so skinny, adding some body fat to your frame will probably make you look better in the long run. And don't we all just want to look good naked? That's pretty much why we're all doing this. So if you gain some body fat, and again, I'm talking about some body fat, gaining body fat is kind of demonized right now. Like people think that if you gain a couple pounds of fat, you're just gonna look obese. That's not the case at all. Like I'm not talking about gaining 15 pounds of body fat. I'm talking about gaining at an appropriate rate, which we'll talk about later, which is going to be just a few pounds of body fat that you can diet off in like, I don't know, 1 to 6 weeks max. Even if you could get away with Maingaining, why would you want to do that? Your body fat percentage is already too low. The novel stimulus is going to have you gaining muscle at such a fast rate that your body fat percentage is going to go down pretty rapidly. And you might even get into low energy availability states, which why would you even want to risk that? Just bulk. On top of that, for a beginner, you may not even need to cut. The body fat that you gain might actually enhance the way that you look such that you won't even want to cut. Like you're going to be so fulfilled by the way you look that there's going to be no point in even cutting. And so that's the argument that I don't get. Like, sure, if you gain 20 pounds of body fat as a beginner, you might need to cut. But if you do it in a proper, intelligent way, and you just gain a few pounds of body fat, you probably won't even want to cut. So that covers beginners. Now we're going to move on to late intermediates and advanced trainees. The first thing that we know is that progress slows. Building muscle becomes a much, much slower process. And so what that does is it causes Maingaining to become a much more attractive choice. because what it promises is that you can gain the muscle without the body fat, which sounds awesome. And it does work. Can you Maingain as a late intermediate or advanced? Absolutely, yes. However, this is where I want to turn more towards the anecdote, because that's not quite what you see. When you look at the highest level natural bodybuilders, competitive natural bodybuilders, I might add, some names that come to mind for me are AJ Morris and Adam Powell of MBW. A couple of my Instagram homies, Elite Pro Ali and Matt Kennedy, also known as Averagely Jacked, they're also proponents of bulking, even during like a competition season. And so even though they know, and all these people, even though they know they'll have to diet down to single-digit body fat percentages to hop on stage, they still go out of their way to spend time in a dedicated calorie surplus. My question to you is why? Why on earth would they do that? Because we know that calorie surpluses don't build muscle. That's very well established. Calories are not a stimulus. The stimulus comes from the gym, and the calories just support that. So if these are already elite athletes with elite physiques, why would they bulk if they know that it's just going to lead to added body fat gain? The answer is recovery. We know that the calories don't cause muscle growth. They're not a stimulus. But what the calories do is they enhance your ability to recover. Think about it. In a calorie deficit, what happens? You have to reduce your volume, reduce your intensity. You have more stress. You have more cortisol. You have worse training performance. What's the opposite of a deficit? The opposite of a deficit is a surplus. And so in a surplus, what can you do? More volume, frequency, intensity, better mood, better training, better sleep, better everything. The calories help with recovery. They allow you to get away with more fatiguing training. A lot of these guys that advocate for calorie surpluses, they train batshit crazy. They train like madmen, okay? They do crazy amounts of volume, frequency, intensity, and just the craziest stuff that you'll ever see in the gym. People would look at their training and say, are you sure you're not fatigued? Are you sure you're recovered? Because it's just insane the way that they train, the things that they can get away with. The reason they can get away with those things is because of the calorie surplus. That's my point, is that the calorie surplus aids in recovery, not growth, but recovery, and it allows you to get away with more fatiguing training. More volume, more frequency, more intensity, more. More training gets you better results. Not in every case, right? I'm not saying you have to train for 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, but typically in the research, especially with things like volume, what we see is that more is better. I'm in the parking lot and I still have pre-workout left. This is awful. Guys, I'm being so suboptimal right now. Holy. With that being said, the next thing I want to talk about is maintaining and maintenance. All it means is that you need to dial in your lifestyle factors in your recovery, in your fatigue management, just a little bit better, which isn't bad. I mean, that's something that you can do. I'm not anti-maingaining. I have maingained and I've seen great progress doing it. But the point is that if you choose to maingain, you need to make sure that your lifestyle is, optimal. You need to make sure that your lifestyle is being lived in a way that is just slightly more optimal and that you're managing fatigue a little bit more intelligently. It's not too much volume, it's not too little volume, but it's just the right amount of volume. You need more balance. And so again, what the surplus does is it acts as a safety net to where you can get away with some batshit crazy training. That's my point. And so finally, the part of this video that you all care about, what should you do? What should you actually do? So this is what I would do for any one of my clients. The first thing you need to do is get to a body fat percentage that is conducive to growth, and that is a good starting point that gives you runway to bulk from. So for men, I'd say this is 12 to 13% body fat. For women, probably 17 to 18% body fat. Then what you're gonna do is lean bulk. You see, lean bulking is just a slow bulk, all right? I'm talking no more than a 200 calorie surplus, probably not gaining any more than a pound a month, right? If you're a beginner, you can probably get away with like 2 pounds a month, 1.5, but late intermediate to advanced, no more than a pound a month, even half a pound a month would be good. But you're still bulking, you got the extra calories to help with what? Recovery. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna bulk for as long as you possibly can without putting on that much body fat. You're gonna use two things. You're gonna use the mirror, all right? So if you start to look fluffy, you might wanna pull back in the bulk, and you're gonna use photos. Okay, so make sure to take progress photos, because you might think that you look a little bit fluffy and, oh, it's time to stop the bulk, but make sure you look back at your previous progress picture and make sure you're not like having any kind of body dysmorphia things. And so my proof that this stuff works is myself. I bulked for an entire year, and you might think, there are pictures on screen right here. Okay, this is February to February. I bulked for an entire year. I gained about 20 pounds. And you might think that, oh, dude, you gained 20 pounds on your bulk and you're like a late intermediate? Holy crap, you probably got like obese and fat. Not really. I think I look pretty awesome here. Now, recently, I just did this. This is what I look like now. Guess how long it is in between my peak bulk at, I think it was 193, and this cut that I just did, which is 180. It took me 4 weeks, guys. I remedied an entire year of bulking in 4 weeks. That's how easy it is. Like, at the beginning of the video, when I said you don't need massive cuts, I really meant it. Like, cutting is so easy. It's so easy to strip off body fat. And that's all I did. And so the mini cut acts as a reset. And that's a crazy ratio. I mean, 1 year of amazing gym progress, gaining, bulking, to 4 weeks of cutting. I mean, that is a crazy ratio. People are so afraid of gaining body fat. It's so demonized that they're really holding themselves back. But body fat is not that hard to lose. I don't know where this idea came from. And so I hope you guys could learn something and take something away from this video. I hope it's not too long. Thank you for watching. Glad you enjoyed. If you did, I'm about to go train full body. Look at the bicep going. Oh, I'm so pale. God bless you guys. See ya.